it's Lisa here from Arcaneandstellar. Welcome to my channel. In this timeless pick a card reading, we are going to be looking at the appearance of your soulmate. So what does your soulmate look like? Now, you can also, because we're going to be looking at appearances, if you want to know, like maybe you've already met one soulmate but you know it won't work out, you are free to ask like, what will my next soulmate look like, and pick accordingly. Okay, so you can customize the question a bit yourself. What does my friend soulmate look like, as an example, my next friendly soulmate? Or you can really go for it with this. There are 6 different groups, so we have plenty of choices and options to kind of get a good look at different aspects of the question. But let's go ahead and get started. So we have group number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So the timestamps will be down below, so once you select a number, you can go find exactly where your reading starts. So let's get started. Okay, my friends, so if you chose group number 1, so number 1, this is your reading. So let's find out, what is the appearance of your soulmate? And again, like I said in the intro, if you want to, you can ask for different types of situations, like maybe the next soulmate that you'll meet, and then concentrate on the piles. Or you could ask, who's your next soul friend, as an example, like soulmate friend. That's another option. So anyway, whatever you asked, let's go ahead and see. So we have the Sun and the 7 of Pentacles. So the Sun as an appearance. Well, the Sun is, the ruler of Leo. And so, of course, there can be Leo-like qualities to the person that is your soulmate. But usually Leo is pretty outgoing. The Sun represents a very shining, bright energy. So again, this person could have like a beautiful smile, sort of a jovial appearance. It's like when they smile, you smile, that sort of thing. I think they have a contagious kind of bubbliness, or at least outgoingness. Like it's definitely somebody who has a very friendly demeanor, a kind face, and also perhaps a regal face, because Sun can represent royalty, as an example, or someone who looks popular or famous, or like kind of like performy type as well. Of course, the Sun can represent a more dramatic and bold energy for sure. So I'd probably say that the person's good at social skills generally, like kind of like a good personality, even if they have their shyness, which 7 of Pentacles they may. I do feel like somehow the person is growing something or working on something in terms of their appearance. So this might mean that they're growing out their hair or something like that. I think for a lot of you that's what it's going to be. They're going to be changing their hair in some way, like growing it out or trying to do something like that. But usually, like I said, the Sun represents a very commanding energy, a commanding presence in life. Oftentimes, gold jewelry is more preferred for solar people. So they'll tend to like gold more than silver, as an example. And also like jewelry is usually, actually that's funny. So I was just thinking about like the Leo King, even he always wears like all these like necklaces and things like that, and that's true too. And my son, even, he's a Leo moon, and he also likes to wear a necklace. So do I, and I'm a Leo rising as well. But yeah, so usually jewelry is a part of their wardrobe in some way. Like they'll always be wearing something kind of accessorized as well. This also, fire signs in general usually tend to have more flushing. So again, this can give somebody a more flushing cheek, as an example, where they kind of blush or they get red when they're upset or whatnot. Not as much as Aries though. Not as much as Aries. But yeah, usually like a more ruddy cheek or a more pink cheek at times. And again, that could be like for a feminine energy, they might like to wear blush as well. Yeah. And then we have, of course, the hair can kind of have a golden color to it in some way. Or, again, the hair is always emphasized, right, with Leo. And I really have yet to meet a Leo that isn't somehow picky about their hair. Even my Leo moon son, he was like, didn't want to get a haircut. I have this video of him when he was little where he was like, no. I was like, you need a haircut. And he's like, no. And he was like, so little. And he told me to go away. Anyway, but yeah, no, really. My mother's a Leo sun. She's got very, very long hair. My stepmom is a Leo sun as well, and she's got like just always a nice hairstyle. So again, the hair is usually emphasized with Leos, even if it's just thick. You know, I'm a Leo rising, and I never do my hair, but it's thick, and people comment on it a lot. So again, the it can be noticeable. You know, the hair, and sometimes the face can be a bit flatter as well, and a less rounder face than like moon-based people, as an example. The moon or lunar types usually have a more rounder face, and the sun doesn't usually give such a round face as well. So yeah, I probably would say that they're more of a slimmer face style. Strong jaws usually as well, like kind of, but there's still a strong face structure. And I've noticed that actually a lot with the Leos as well. It's like sort of like strong cheekbones, strong angles on the face as well. And generally, actually, this can also mean that the person touches their hair a lot when they're just talking and stuff like that. They might touch their hair, play with their hair, that sort of thing. And often the head can lean forward as well, sort of like getting closer to you when they talk, as an example. They might like to kind of get really close. Also, the eyes of Leos tends to be a little bit on the cat-like side as well. That's pretty true for a lot of fire signs. Usually our eyes are a bit upturned, or rather than downturned, you're going to see more upturned eyes with this kind of energy. Okay, so yeah. And even sometimes they can show like even an Asian-like eye, where it's more like, Eastern Asia, like a smaller eye, as well, even in like a European person that normally wouldn't, maybe have that eye as well, by the way. Not always, but can be. And again, cat-like eye usually. Usually also the teeth can be quite nice. Like again, the smile tends to be contagious, but also they can have bigger teeth as well, like a longer, generally, depending on other factors though. Full lips as well. Oftentimes bee sting type of lips where they're like really kind of like puffy. Yeah, so usually it gives a fuller lip as well for Leo. So I would say that your soulmate has a fuller lip as well. And oftentimes, in terms of the teeth, I was going to talk about that too, is that sometimes this can give like a longer two front teeth than the other ones. So they might have like, where they're not all even, but like, kind of, that's a youthful thing usually as well. Sort of like a youthful. And they can also kind of walk very proudly, kind of like, somebody walks down the runway as well. Sort of like strut their stuff, that sort of thing. I want to say as well from this, I feel like with the Seven of Pentacles, I do feel like the more flamboyant aspects of this person are not there. I would say that they're proud and they're fine, but I wouldn't say that they're like the more flamboyant, cocky type of sun person. You know what I mean? I would say that they're pretty reserved. Again, I think that you might find this person's like growing out something or working on something in their life. Maybe they're losing weight or gaining weight or exercising or going through some sort of transformation. It might be something that takes some time. And again, I think for some of you, it might be that this person's literally growing out their hair or something like that as well. There is also a more patient demeanor as well with the Seven of Pentacles. So I think that, yeah, they're not like, some Leos can be quite dramatic and reactive. This feels like they must have things inside of them that calm them down a little bit. Okay. Yeah, so that's what I'm getting here. Let me see if there's anything else. I thought about anything else in terms of appearance. Telephone. Well, the telephone lets us talk, so again, their voice might be quite commanding as well. This telephone also shows sort of like long things, so I want to say that they could be kind of tall or longer in general. I kind of get maybe a longer neck for some reason from the telephone. Yeah. And again, maybe you'll talk to them a lot on the phone, or maybe they're often on the phone when you see them. Hopefully not. But they might be the type of person, like if they get business calls, you know, they have to like answer, or they're on the phone a lot for work or something like that. Yeah, something long about them, guys. The candles, and look at their long candlesticks. So I want to say that I think they'll be quite tall and slender, to be honest, is what I think. Tall, slender kind of person. Elegant as well. Do you notice how both of these things are quite elegant and beautiful, kind of like, yeah. So kind of an elegant, nice look. We also have the question mark. So I think one thing too is like, even, okay, and this is the thing about like the Sun and the Seven of Pentacles, like it may be that they come off quite cocky at first, even, but actually they're quite reserved. Like they're not actually like that. It's sort of maybe their first impression. I feel like somehow something's a mystery about them. Now for some of you, it might be that you haven't met this person yet, and you're like, who is this? I don't know anyone like this. Well, you haven't met them yet. They're not unknown to you still. Now, yeah, that's what I'm getting. I really, really, really hope that you liked the reading. I hope that this was interesting. You know, if you do want like a long-term partnership report, I do that. You have to know your birth time, but I can tell you, because I base it off of houses in astrology, and looking at the 7th house. But I can really look and see at qualities your future partner or life partner could have. And this also includes future life partners, even if you get divorced. You can look in astrology at other houses for that as well, but we do tend to kind of relive the same energy of our 7th house. You know what I mean? Because it's sort of like our path in life. But yeah, if you want one of those, I have those. But of course, tarot readings too. I have it all on my Etsy. But I wish you all the very, very best. I hope that you have a wonderful day. Take care. And leave me a comment down below. Do you know who this person is, or are they a mystery? Okay, take care. Bye-bye. Hello, my friends. If you've chosen group number 2, this is your reading. So what's the appearance, kind of, what's your soulmate like? And again, like I said in the intro, and I'll repeat it once again just in case you didn't hear it, if you want to apply this reading to like maybe a friend soulmate, or if you want to find out what your next soulmate will look like because you've already met a previous one, you know, it's totally fine however you want to phrase the question to yourself as you're picking a group, because these are very open, and you know what I mean? So we're not like, they really could be applied any way you want. So, okay, you have got Cancer and the Lovers. Now this is a really interesting thing, because to me the Lovers represent a pair. And so first of all, there's that. So somehow I think you guys stand on equal footing in some way, and are quite similar or complementary to each other. So one thing I will say here with Cancer as well is that this person could resemble family in some way. I know that sounds weird, but they might have a familiar face as well. Oftentimes people that have, and I was just discussing this with a friend, but I've seen this over and over and over and over again. If you have like the moon in the 1st, the 7th, or an aspect to the ascendant, or even in the aspect to the MC maybe too, because it's very outer planet. I mean outer planet, outer house, like outer world house. You may find that people will think you look familiar, or it can also mean that you look like your mother as well, like you resemble the mother a lot. The Sun on the Angles tends to talk more about the father as an example. But yeah, anyway. But so this person may actually look like their mother, or like a female in their family, no matter their gender or whatever. Also, again, they could have a familiar face, and I think for you, especially with the Lovers here, it feels like a familiar face. It's like, wow, I know you. You seem really familiar. And for some of you, they really may resemble some sort of family member. Okay, like there may be an actual family member. So. the cancer traits. What are cancer traits? Well, moon traits. And there are different types of moon people. There's like full moon phase, and there's also a new moon phase of moon, right? So that can give a little bit of a different vibe, but sometimes they can have this kind of a sensitive look, kind of be a kind of a touchy personality, or kind of like, sometimes they look like sad if they're just resting their face, as an example, or melancholy, sort of looks sad. And usually very like motherly like qualities. You know, usually the type to take care of other people and be quite generous in general. Even Cancer risings, I've seen it. Moon ruled people, as an example, as well. Sometimes they can identify a lot in that nurturing role, or just fall into it, you know, without realizing. And usually, okay, so Cancer and the moon rule our breasts, our stomachs, okay, these areas of our body. So this can mean that the person has you know, something significant with their chest area, okay. I can't say without other cards, I wouldn't be able to say maybe what that is. Hold on, let me see actually. Because sometimes if you have Saturn moon as an example, or Saturn in the 4th house, or other things, then you might find that the breasts are smaller. Let me see here. Anything to do with the chest here? Mars? You know, I was doing research on that. They could actually be working out, actually. So maybe they have like actually a defined chest. Also, if it's a female or whatever, again, there might be like some smaller breast. Exactly. Yeah. I would say probably Mars indicates with a Cancer, it's like a smaller breast. Or again, sort of like muscular as well, possibly, you know, if it fits. So I think that, and if it is like, by the way, if they do have like a softer breast or stomach, I think that they would probably be working it out or working towards something. Okay. The eyes usually tend to be really beautiful for Cancers, and kind of like larger eyes, usually quite soulful. And sometimes the eye color can change depending on the mood or what they wear as well. That's actually, I've seen that a lot with Cancers, especially. My mother is a Cancer rising, and she has like the weirdest color. They used to be blue, then they turned brown, then they turned to this weird green color, green yellow. and it depends on what she's wearing too. It's really strange. So the eyes and the eyebrows are distinguished as well. Usually they can have a more downward tilt as well, unless there are fire aspects. With Mars here, maybe not fully downturned. Yeah. The mouth tends to follow the shape of the eyes as well. So if the mouth is kind of more downward, their eyes will be downward. If their mouth is, you know, kind of more of a smile, their eyes are going to kind of go up as well. We can also have like a perkier nose as well, like one that kind of goes up or points up, or, you know, is kind of cute, as an example. Usually a neat kind of like small compact nose as well. Again, like the torso and the chest is quite significant. And here I think, again, we're talking like maybe a muscular person. And we can talk about also higher cheekbones with this as well. Kind of like a well-defined face. Mars could indicate that there's some sort of scar on their stomach or on their breasts, or that they have a tattoo on their breast or their chest or on their stomach, okay? So we might find that these areas are tattooed or injured in some way, okay, as well. In fact, actually, you may, for some of you, very few, very, very few of you, you might actually have a matching tattoo with this person, like when you meet them. Not to say you have an exact matching one, but it might be like, I have a butterfly on my stomach as an example. Two of them. And it might be that they have a butterfly as an example. You know what I mean? Or they want one or something like that. That might be something too for you guys. For some of you, they also could have like a family member's name or something like that on them as well, or wear some sort of memorabilia around a family member. Or I think for very, 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 very few of you, they could have a tattoo that says mom or something like that, or in honor of a grandmother or mother or a woman. Yeah. I want to say, though, with Cancer, like I said, Cancer also gives a round face. Sorry, oops, I almost forgot about that. That gives, because we were talking about that in Leo, well, in Sun last reading. The group number 1 was the Sun. This is like the Moon, basically. And they can actually have a more rounder face, okay? So yeah, their face would be more rounder than not, I think. But the Lovers, it feels like you know who they are. You instinctually understand them. They may look somehow close to you. Another thing, too, this might mean that some of you, especially if you're asking about romantic one, you might find that... Oh, and they can look like their family as well. That's another thing. They may look like a family member, like I said, like a mother, as well. Like my son, he has a moon on the MC, and he looks just like me when I was little, but a boy version, just like a male version of me. And then my daughter has a sun on the AC, and she looks like her father, like completely. She has moon in the 4th though. But she doesn't, I really don't think she looks anything like me. I always feel like we look totally opposite, but I don't know, maybe in some ways. But she's very close to me in other ways. But yeah, this could be somebody who looks a lot like their mother, or identifies a lot with the mother as well, or identifies as a mother too. For some of you especially, if this person is a mother, they might actually be quite like a feisty mom. But that's not really talking about appearance. Okay, sorry. Let me think. Could be a bit of a quieter person as well, like maybe a quieter demeanor. I don't find Cancers, usually people with strong Cancer placements, to be the loudest. Not the loudest types, usually kind of on the quieter side, which may suit you well. I think they're still a passionate person, like for sure. But yeah, I do think that they might be a little bit on the quieter side. I do feel like as well this soulmate would want to spend a lot of quality time together as well. Yeah, I'm really getting that. I wonder if some of you could have the ruler of the 7th and the 4th, or the 4th and the 7th. What that looks like would be like, say that you have, let's see. Say you have a Taurus ascendant and you have a Scorpio 7th house, right? Mars would be like in the 4th. Or say you are Leo rising and you have Scorpio in the 4th house. It could be having Mars in the 7th. So it's kind of like where that sign that you have on the 4th house or the 7th house cusp goes into the other one. I think that can make people stick together for a long time. I actually have that with I have the 7th and the 4th, but and somehow, even though my husband and I feel like we don't look a lot alike, I've often heard like, man, you guys look like family. Like you guys look like a family. Like you can tell that you're together. Like, and it's really weird because we don't really look anything alike. Like, because he's got blue eyes and brown hair, and I've got brown eyes, and I'm much darker than he is, I think, in skin tone. And you know what I mean? I have a different skin tone altogether. And yeah, but sometimes people will just say, oh man, you guys look like, family. And again, that might be something for you guys where it's like you're soulmates kind of like feels like family or appears like family in some way, even if they don't like look like it. You know, like I said, it's so weird that people would say that, because I even had someone think he was my dad once, actually. That was funny. That was funny. We were like in our 20s too. Quite young. But anyway, yeah, that's kind of what I'm getting here. I hope that this was insightful and helpful. If you enjoyed the reading, you know, you can always go, if you have your birth time, you can always get a long-term partnership report. I offer those on my Etsy store, and I can dive into your 7th house and try to identify qualities and traits and physical characteristics as well. I can try to get of your partner. So, you know, future long-term partner. And yeah, so if you'd like that, you know, but also I do tarot readings, so you can always come to me and I can do the same thing for you personally. And yeah, but I just wish you all the very, very best. Have a beautiful, blessed day. Let me know if you chose group number 2. Okay, bye-bye. Hello, my friends. So if you chose group number 3, this is your reading. So let's find out what is the appearance, kind of the qualities of your soulmate. Now, again, as I said in the intro, you can apply this to anything, really. I mean, any type of soulmate. If you want to know your next romantic soulmate, or your next friend, soul friend, kind of, as well, you can do that. So you can go to the different groups and stuff like that and ask for different situations. So we have Sagittarius. I know it's here. Okay, so Sagittarius and the High Priestess. Well, first of all, quite a mystical person. You know, Sagittarius is a very spiritual sign. Very philosophical, very spiritual as well. And so, actually, you know, in astrology, especially traditional astrology, like the 9th house as an example, is usually you know, the place of spirituality, ritual. It's the house of God, essentially. So this person could be religious or spiritual in some way, sort of have some sort of moral beliefs as well. But I am kind of getting more of a kind of the High Priestess, maybe a psychic type of vibe as well. Again, Sagittarius, the 9th house, you know, is connected towards divinatory dreams as an example as well. So maybe you guys will dream about this person before you meet them. That's a possibility. Although, actually, I would say, in my experience as an astrologer and like looking at people's charts, I would say that having the 7th house ruler in the 12th, or the 12th house ruler in the 7th, can show dreaming about a partner. I've seen it time and time and time and time again. Or 12th house, like Venus is an example, especially for people who are interested in women or whatever. Okay, anyway, so yeah, usually, so again, there might be like sort of a spiritual nature to this person, philosophical nature as well. And that with the High Priestess, again, they may actually be sort of spiritual themselves or in a spiritual field. Anyway, it also usually, Sagittarius can give a very playful type of energy, kind of fun, like a fire sign. You know, fire signs tend to be fun, outgoing, friendly, that sort of thing as well. Sagittariuses are known to be a bit on the more sarcastic side as well, out of the humor, so more sarcastic humor. And I think it kind of goes well with the mutable energy, sarcasm. I'm not saying that they're only sarcastic ones, but I'm just saying. And now here the thing is that Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter. And what does Jupiter rule? Things that are big. And so it can mean that the person themselves is quite big, larger than life or tall. So in physical appearance with Sagittarius there's a real high chance that the person could be much taller than you or bigger than you, okay? Usually they kind of can have a longer leg as well. That depends, you know, I would say. Now, like, because I want to give you an example of astrology. Like, if I were to kind of like be reading someone's chart, and I'll use my chart as an example. I have Jupiter in the 7th. And I married a foreign person, so ha ha ha, typical of Jupiter in the 7th. But my 7th house is ruled by Saturn because it's Aquarius, right? And so Saturn falls into my 4th house, but Saturn itself decreases, and so my partner is not tall. Okay, it kind of makes him shorter. And he's actually short just like the rest of his family. So yeah, there are things that can kind of change, you know what I mean? But I think here, more so, let's not complicate things. But I'm just telling you for your own, like, if you want to investigate your own chart as an example. But yeah, Sagittarian qualities. And like I said, generally Jupiter gives size. So bigger sizes. And longer legs, because of course Sagittarius rules the leg and the hips. So as well, that can give someone a nice hip as well, like kind of a nice figure, as an example too. We also can have a longer face as well. So kind of like a more, like kind of more long than small. So rather than their face being kind of like small, it's going to be longer. You know what I mean? So yeah. And then again, if they're not tall though, and maybe the person isn't tall, then they're probably going to be elongated somewhere else in their body. So maybe like a long torso or long legs. Okay, like maybe one of them's kind of more than the other. They also tend to really stand up straight, hold their head up high as well. And usually the head goes a bit back more. With Aries, like as an example, a fellow fire sign, people that have Aries placements will be more likely to kind of push their head forward a little bit because they're kind of like trying to get somewhere first. Almost it's like they're kind of cutting through. Whereas like Sagittarius is more relaxed a little bit, so they'll kind of like be tilted back more. Okay. And the nose tends to come down from pretty high up the face as well. The eyes can be very puppy-like, very friendly, very kind, too. And also sometimes the hair can get in their eyes or as well. Usually the features of the face are just quite open and, kind. Fire signs usually are pretty happy and joyful type of people. Usually they're, outgoing, kind of friendly. So they have like a really friendly face generally, unless of course there's other things kind of going on in the chart. Like I said, if they have Saturn in the first, they might be a little bit more serious as an example. But yeah. Sorry I'm throwing these things in there just because I don't want someone to be like, oh, I'm a Sagittarius, I always look sad. You know what I mean? But there's probably a reason for that other than being a Sagittarius. Because like I said, charts, when you're actually reading a chart, that's a bit more complicated. But we're more talking about qualities. Smiling lips, usually. The person's usually smiling, kind of has a resting smiling face rather than a resting bitch face, like I said. Unless, of course, like I said, there'd be other aspects there. Thicker hair as well for Sagittarius. So usually this could indicate that your next soulmate will probably have a nicer set of hair in terms of thickness. And there can sometimes be overindulgence because of Jupiter. So yeah, overindulgence can be a thing. So it can be like that they overdo things as well in terms of like, you might always like see them with a soda or something like that because they drink way too much of it, or other things like that. Yeah, actually I've known a few people that had like issues with alcohol as an example, and they'd often have like Jupiter, Venus as an example. I actually had my cousin's mother died from alcoholism, and she had Jupiter, Venus, and it was ruling her 6th house. Yeah. Anyway. But yeah, usually like a very lively energy, a very friendly energy, and casual. Usually they'll dress a little bit more on the casual side, more relaxed, laid back, not so frou-frou or like too like fancy or whatever. They'll be kind of like, casual in some way. And the face tends to be on the rounder side or diamond shaped as well, is popular with Sag. And then the eye, out of all the fire signs, this one tends to have more downturned eyes than the other ones. Like Aries and Leo will usually have a more upturned eye, whereas Sagittarius will have a more downwardly turned eye, and almond shaped as well. Tend to be a little bit more almond shaped, but more down. And oftentimes one of their best features, like I said, are their legs. You know what I mean? The legs are usually prominent in some way, especially like on a feminine energy. They'll usually have kind of really nice looking legs, that sort of thing. And yeah, and hips could be prominent as well. Usually talented for dancing, as, by the way. So usually, yeah, out of all the, in fact, actually, I know quite a few women who have been strippers, as an example, exotic dancers, and a lot of them had Sag placements, or dancers in general. It's really popular. Actually, what's funny is I was looking at ballerinas, and I was incredibly shocked by how many Sagittariuses there were, which I wasn't that surprised, actually, because I mean it does rule, dancing in a lot of ways. But yeah, that was like a big one. Aspects wise, it was always like Mars and Saturn, and Mars Neptune as well for dancing, like ballerinas. Because I went to the ballet and I was like, okay, I need to go study all the charts of the ballerinas. And yeah, it was like I think 5 or 6 out of like 8 charts had Mars Saturn or Mars Neptune as well, was really high up there. And then a lot of Sagittariuses, a lot of Aries as well, funnily enough. But yeah, anyway, not all, I mean, but prominent. And a lot of stellium people as well. People that just had straight up stelliums, like lots of inner planets in one sign. But it gives someone a very like strong personality. Anyway, let's see here. Oh, the thighs also can be quite muscular. And again, that's the funny part, like thinking about a ballerina, like their legs are very strong, And so again, we can sort of get these qualities, like these prominent legs with Sagittarius as well. And also, out of all the zodiac, these are usually the type to tend to have a bigger butt, okay? Usually. It could be longer. It could be a longer, flatter, or more so probably. So it's probably going to be more elongated, because usually, but it also could be rounder as well. You know what I mean? So the butt could be kind of like prominent in some way. Like I remember the Baywatch butt that used to be popular in like the 90s, and it was like the girls all had these really long butts, sort of like came down. I think it was the pants cut too that made them, or like the clothing cut that they would wear. But yeah, so it can be kind of like a prominent butt, or bottom, I guess you could say. Yeah. But anyway, what else could I say? Sagittarius, of course, could give someone, like I said, that sort of taste towards the philosophical, the foreign, the religious. So again, they could wear like a cross as an example, or something religious on them, and again, like, because this is like Jupiter. Even if I think about Jupiter, my 7th house, my husband always wears a cross all our marriage, and he wears, he wears there's a ring on it that's a Christian like a symbol. I didn't even think about that. Jupiter in the 7th. Yep, I have that. And but anyway. Yeah, so they could wear like religious symbology on them somehow, or have like maybe a religious tattoo or something spiritual. Again, it doesn't have to be. I think when we hear the word religious, we think, oh, it must be Christian or Muslim or whatever, or what, But there are other types of spiritual beliefs and stuff like that beyond. Could be pagan or whatever. It doesn't matter. Because the thing about astrology, it wasn't really made, I think, but it wasn't only Christian, you know what I mean? Anyway. So yeah, we could see like religious symbology on them, or again, maybe something that kind of is foreign or different as well. The High Priestess, though, like I said, there is something mysterious about this person, I think, as well. Like, and in High Priestess, again, like I said, there might be something about like dreaming about them before you meet them. I think I mentioned that probably in the beginning, because that came to me first, or intuitively knowing. You might also find that you have a really psychic connection to this person. Actually, that's funny. I was just reading a book. Astrology book, and actually they were saying that Jupiter contacts are some of the best for long-term relationships, because you tend to just really like each other. And I have noticed that a lot of my long-term friendships and long-term people did have Jupiter, even with my husband, I have Jupiter conjunct my descendant, and his sun is on there at the same degree, so pretty much. So it's like, Jupiter sun conjunction, conjunct the descendant. But anyway, yeah, so Jupiter, maybe you guys will have Jupiter contacts or something like that too with this person. But I would say that, and like I said, if they're not a Sagittarius, like that doesn't have to be that, oh, they're a Sag. It may be that they have like Jupiter in a prominent house, an angular house as an example, or they have Jupiter conjunct their chart ruler as an example as well. Like my husband is an example. He's a Gemini rising, right? Mercury is in the 8th house conjunct Jupiter, So again, his whole chart ruler is in aspect to Jupiter, sitting right next to it at the same degree, So yeah, so you might find that they have those type of qualities too, like where their Jupiter is just quite prominent. Whew, let's see, anything else? Yeah, I think that's what I've got. I really hope that you like the reading. Sorry if I brought in a lot of personal examples, but I just have some experience with this myself in my own natal chart. If you want me to look at your natal chart and tell you about your long-term partner and all the qualities that you're kind of picking up here, but kind of towards your own chart, dude, I've got that reading on my Etsy. Long-term partnership report are available, and it's a 30-minute video report, and I'll go over everything that's in your 7th house, or if it's empty, it doesn't matter, because everyone has that ruler going somewhere and doing something. So you know what I mean? Even if you have an empty 7th house and you're like, well, I don't have anything there, well, good for you actually, because sometimes when you have something there, it makes it worse. But not always, it just depends. It's just more emphasis. But yeah, anyway, if you want that report or any other report, I could also do a personal reading like this for you. But yeah, all that's available on my Etsy store, at least as of this reading. And I wish you all the very, very best. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see y'all next time. Bye-bye. Hello, my friends. If you've chosen group number 4, this is your reading. So what is your soulmate looking like? Let's find out. So we have Leo and Judgment. Now I want to also say something really quickly before we move on, in case you didn't hear the intro. If you want to know what your next friend soulmate is going to look like, or next romantic soulmate, you can really choose these readings or these groups for any kind of soul connection. So maybe you want to know what your next best friend is going to look like, if it's a soul connection, what they might look like, how you could identify them. Again, you can use this reading in different ways. So it doesn't have to always be, towards a romantic soulmate or something like that. And maybe you already met a soulmate, but it's not going to work out. And you're like, maybe what's my next one? Totally cool. You can ask it. So we have Leo and Judgment. Judgment card is very interesting. I feel like this person somehow will strike you differently. And what I mean by that is I think that somehow this person is a bit different than your usual type or something. Or you're definitely going to recognize this person's presence in your life, let me tell you. Like, you're going to know it. Like, it's the type of thing where you're like, man, this person's special. I know it. I can feel it in my bones. I know that they're special. I know that there's somebody. This person may whistle a lot as well. That might be a quality. Or they might play an instrument as well. Because of the Judgment card, she's kind of like doing a little happy tune. So they might hum a lot, whistle, or maybe they play an instrument. Music could somehow be pivotal as well to this connection. Maybe they're musically gifted. By the way, I do feel like somebody who stands upright. Leo usually represents these qualities. Now, I talked a lot about Leo and the sun in the group number 1, so we're getting it again. Of course, it'll be unique because we have other cards. We have the Judgment card here as well. This can be a person who's quite proud. This could be somebody who teaches other people a lot about something in particular. They might be an expert at something or offered new perspectives. Usually Leo energy, okay, is very sort of outgoing, performing type, usually quite dramatic, and like I said, unless there are other factors, in the chart. But I would say generally probably the person's quite outgoing from what I'm seeing here, okay, in personality. But sometimes if I say, depending on their chart, why I'm saying that is because I know some people might be Leos here, but then they might have some other placements that make them a bit shyer, and they're like, I'm not outgoing, yeah, astrology charts are a bit complicated, and they do require some sort of individual look at them before we make such judgments. You know what I mean? But generally, this is thought to be quite a confident sign, quite a confident energy, quite an outgoing energy, and again is really associated with entertainment, performance, acting, great actors, lots of great actors, beautiful people, usually very good looking. Okay, Leo energy tends to be very good looking, traditionally sort of magnetic personality. People are attracted to them as well. Even if they're not traditionally good looking, there's just an aura about them that just draws people in. You know, they have a warm personality. Think about it. Leo's ruled by the sun, which brings warmth and growth as well. So yeah, and I think this person actually could be quite an inspiring person in general. They might be really uplifting. Like when they go places, they compliment people and they tell them nice things. You know, it'll be like, oh man, I really like your blouse, or I really, dig your haircut, or I feel like it's a person who compliments people. And maybe even sees things that you don't see sometimes. They're like, oh, I wish I would have thought to say that. That's a really nice thing to say. You know what I mean? Like, I get that kind of person. Okay. Usually, this can mean, Leo, could mean that they like jewelry or to wear gold as well. Gold is usually worn by Leos more than silver. Again, you know, if there are Cancer placements, which is common for Leos, because of course, you know, the Mercury and the Venus can't be too far away from the sun. So, you know, you're often going to find people that have Leo placements that also have Cancer placements, etc., etc. Anyway, but yeah, could be somebody who likes to wear gold. Very kind of regal and elegant energy, though. Especially, I do feel like this person's kind of walking very like upright. They're kind of like looking up and out as well, kind of showing confidence, that aura of confidence. There could be a prideful aspect, of course, with Leo energy. So always putting on their best face. You rarely ever see them down. Maybe they can get dramatic, but they'd feel very justified for being so. Okay. Oh yeah. Also, again, I mentioned this for group number 1 as well, but Leo tends to have not such a round face. Cancers can have a round face, but usually, and so again, like I said, with Cancer and Leo being right next to each other, it can be that, you know, if they have a lot of Cancer qualities, they could have a more rounder face, but generally Leo energy isn't such a round face. Jawline tends to be quite strong, structure, cheekbones as well, and fuller lips as well is more common with Leo. So again, you might find that the lips a bit more fuller as well. And the eyes are much more cat-like, almond-shaped usually. And like I said, sometimes like a more Asian, kind of Eastern Asian appearing eye as an example as well, kind of like a smaller, kind of like almond shape. Yeah, so that's really common with Leo energy as well, like a more cat-like eye. Usually also very like kind of fidgety with the hair, and kind of like will play with their hair when they're talking, and, you know, twirl it and mess with it and all that sort of thing. Yeah. What else? Oh, redness in the cheeks, blushing. That's very common with all fire signs, but especially Aries is worse usually, because Aries can have acne and other such problems. Leo usually just fleshy, and maybe again, even she's got the like strong blush on, so it could just be that they wear like a strong blush as an example on their face as well, but or just get fleshy, you know, when they get shy as an example, or when they work out or whatever. Also the hair, of course. We can't talk about Leo without talking about the hair. Now, I want to kind of break a myth. Not all Leos are obsessed with their hair, like where they're going to style all the time. The thing is that Leo energy, usually their hair is like somehow noticeable. Now, it is true that a lot of Leos love their hair, and they will definitely take care of it. My mom's like a Leo sun. She has like really long hair down to her bottom, and my stepmom has a Leo son, she's always styling her hair, and she works as a hairstylist, you know. And then my father's like a Leo moon. My son's a Leo moon. They don't like getting haircuts. And they're always kind of like, oh, you know, about their hair. Like, I'm not messing with it. And, you know, it's funny. And so is my other stepfather. Anyway, and then, like me, I'm just like, I'm a Leo rising, and I just don't give a crap about my hair. But people notice it a lot. They'll be like, oh, your hair's so beautiful. Your hair's so shiny. Your hair's so this. Like, I don't dye it or anything like that, so I just, like, have a natural color. And, like, so, you know, when I go to the salon, they're like, oh, wow, it's so, like, healthy and stuff like that. So that's, like, a very Leo-like thing. Its hair is emphasized. You know what I mean? Again, you know, but it's like, I'll go to my grandma's. Every time I go in there, she's always like, oh, Elizabeth, your hair, you're so beautiful. Did you just wash it? You know, it's like comments on our hair all the time. And again, I think that your soulmate, somehow their hair stands out. Either they take care of it a lot, or people just notice it. Maybe they have a nice thick head of hair. And that's really common too with Leos, is having thick hair as well, by the way. So thicker hair, enough to, you know, probably share with a few people. At least for me. But yeah, so hair also. Again, proudness. There is that proudness there that usually comes forth from Leo energy. You know, everything needs to be good and right and stuff like that. There also can be really good behavior towards children. Leos are usually naturally good with kids. Even if they don't want any themselves, they just can talk to them in a funny way. And like, yeah, it's usually pretty good with children. Or people with like fifth house stuff. Spirit guides, tell me more about their person's looks, the soulmate. We got the canon. This person walks like they are on a mission. Like, they always have somewhere they're going. That's weird as hell. You know, tried to come out and I put it back, automobile. So do you notice how we have things with wheels? They're always moving. This person is moving constantly. I think they probably walk a lot, or they're always on the move. Like, even, it reminds me of myself. Like, I'll get on the phone. I already have 10K steps. Well, no, I don't. Not yet. Okay, not today. But, oh, it's like 44%. But like almost every day you'll find that I have like over 10K steps. Why? Because I like talk when I'm on the phone. Like, I can't just sit there and talk to somebody on a voice message or on the phone. I have to like walk around. And so it might be that this person, there's something about them, they're constantly moving, like wheels. And so they always got something to do. They probably always got plans, always something to do. You notice that even here, movement as well. This person could also have like a very baby-like face with a baby, like maybe fresh youthful skin or a fresh youthful look, like they look like probably 10 years younger than they are, or 5 years, you know what I mean, younger than they are as well. I would say a very direct energy. Like they are who they are. I want to say they also could have an innocence to them. With the automobile, of course, they might be into cars or something like that, possibly, or, you know, identify a lot with a car. Maybe they drive cars or something like that, too. But the Canon, I would say that they're able to bring forth messages in a really good way. Like somehow they know how to hit people in the right way when they say something. And it's not always like meanly. I don't think so. With baby here, I feel like it's more innocent. But it's like maybe they just know how to say the right thing. And it gets people to like pay attention. They're like, oh, wow, okay. I'm listening, you know? But yeah, that is what I'm seeing for those of you that chose group number 4. I really hope that you liked the reading. If you did, let me know in the comments below. But if you do want your own personal reading where I look at your astrology chart, I look at your 7th house, I look at where the ruler is, and we identify many traits and qualities of future partners, long-term partners, you can totally get that reading with me. It's on Etsy, or you can get one like this. I do tarot readings, astrology readings on Etsy. So at least as of this recording. So if you want those things, you can go there. But otherwise, I just wish you the very, very best. I hope to see you again on my channel. Please subscribe if you haven't. And lots of love to you guys. Okay? Bye-bye. Hello, my friends. If you've chosen group number 5, this is going to be your reading. So let's find out. We have Taurus and the 7 of Wands describing the appearance of your soulmate. Now, once again, I'm going to be saying the same thing that I said earlier in the reading. If you want to use this reading to find out like maybe the appearance of your next friend that will be a soulmate, you can also do that. It can be romantic, platonic. We have many different types of soulmates, so feel free, to look for those in other groups, whatever you want, okay? So we have Taurus and the 7 of Wands. Okay, Taurus is ruled by Venus. So usually gives quite a good-looking person, right? Because it's a Venus-ruled person. So generally, I think people tend to think that they find them to be beautiful. Now, Taurus can show a more practical energy as well, though. So they also, okay, so it is a fixed sign. Taurus is a fixed sign. And look at the 7 of Wands, kind of like, they might be a bit stubborn. They also might be kind of lazy sometimes in terms of moving around. It's so funny because I was just talking for the previous group about how this person's probably going to walk around a lot. This person might not. Maybe they're kind of a little bit more hesitant, or they could be also kind of a bit shy in appearance, like they kind of hold back a little bit, a little bit shy is what I think. The throat can be quite noticeable because Taurus rules the throat. And so on, more masculine energies, this can represent having like a larger Adam's apple as an example, or a prominent Adam's apple. We also can see like an elegant neck, beautiful neck, okay? Because Taurus rules the neck. So, exactly. This also rules like the lower half of the face as well, and the thyroid, by the way. Usually very sensual type of person, very like indulgent as well. They might, usually Taurus is going to dress nicely, be kind of regal and elegant, choose things that look nice as well. More practical though. They are usually pretty practical and down to earth despite, because they're an earth sign. But again, that Venusian ruling, usually they're going to have something nice that they think is beautiful. Anyway, what they think is attractive. It doesn't always mean what's traditionally attractive by everyone else, but they are going to certainly think it is. Usually this can mean a slower personality as well, like talking slower, behaving a little bit more in a slow way. Now, just saying, if you're a Taurus who's like, no, not me, I can say that if somebody has, the thing about Taurus is it lies between Aries and Gemini. And so many times, because Mercury and Venus cannot be too far away from the sun, you will find that people have these qualities mixed together. So it's like, I've known many Tauruses who have like an Aries Mercury as an example, and maybe they'll talk a bit faster in that case. Do you get what I'm saying? But usually Taurus can give a slower way of speech. And also the voice tends to be attractive as well with Taurus. Usually gives a very attractive type of voice, because that is one of the things that, usually, it's ruled, it's the throat. So, beautiful voice, or attractive kind of like smoothing, calming voice, that sort of thing. Usually gives a longer and thicker eyebrow, usually a well-shaped eyebrow as well. And sometimes this also can show the energy between the nose and the upper lip. In fact, actually, as a Taurus 10th house who has Mars there, I could say that I have some of those qualities, where the lip, like I don't even know what it's called actually, like Cupid's bow in this area, it could be prominent or noticeable. Usually this gives a longer nose, a larger nose as well. Usually the lips are on the fuller side, or at least thicker than usual. They're not very thin with Taurus placements. So yeah, and then the neck is usually kind of like long usually. The one thing I will say about Taurus and the Seven of Wands is, by the way, the person may not change their style easily as well. It might be somebody who kind of sticks to the same standard style. They dress nicely probably, but they might not really get too adventurous with it. So they might be kind of traditional as well. Usually jewelry is present as well. So I would say that there's like probably jewelry, yeah, usually very seen as beautiful by other people though, like conventionally attractive. Yes, you know, Tauruses are usually very good looking people. Especially in like the traditional sense, just like kind of like a classic beauty, and generally attractive in general. Generally attractive in general. Like, what the heck? I'm like a word repeater. I'm sorry. Sometimes there can be a bit of a stiffer walk here with Taurus as well. And I get that too with the Seven of Wands. Probably, yeah, a bit stiffer. But yeah, let's see. What else comes through? They might have also expensive taste with Taurus. Indulgent. This is going to be a more indulgent energy toward food and drink. So they might be a foodie. They might enjoy eating a lot. They might enjoy wine and good things, you know, luxuries. They might also like to spend money a bit on themselves. So from here and there. Let's see. Yep, grapes. Look at that. Indulgent. This person might be a wine drinker. Oh, this is cute. So we have a man. So we have masculine energy for a lot of you coming through. So they might have a more masculine sense of being. So maybe a lot of you are watching are attracted to men. Or that's going to be, if it's a friend that you're asking about, it's going to be a man, probably, like a masculine energy. So grapes and baby. Well, number one with grapes, again, I kind of get the indulgent energy here. So I mentioned like they may like wine, alcohol, drinking, food, that sort of thing as well. They might like the color purples and blues in particular. Purple, blue. I see purple here, purple there. I see blue, red. So these types of colors, they might actually prefer these sorts of colors, blue, purple, and red-ish colors. We have baby here. So to me, baby kind of represents maybe an innocent face or a youthful look. So they might not look their age. They might be a little bit younger looking in appearance. There also could be kind of something stubborn, again, because if you think about babies, when they want what they want, they want what they want. With the Seven of Wands here, they could be a bit defensive or shy at times. Kind of like also babies, you know, like when babies are kind of shy, you look at them and they're like, why are you looking at me? I was doing it today to one baby. I was like, oh, how cute are you? And then it was like, I don't know about you, woman. And I was like, oh, that's okay. I just want to squeeze your cheeks. Okay. Oh, we have lady too. That's interesting. Scales and candle. Whoa, 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 whoa. What's interesting is that we have two. Notice that? What the heck? Wow, that's interesting. Now, number one, this could mean that you and the person that we're asking about is actually similar in height and body structure to you in some way. So they might be kind of similar to you. This also might mean as well that I feel like a long neck is likely, to be honest. I would say that their posture is quite decent. It could even be rigid, like stiff posture. Also, let me see here. A bit shy though. Because even this is almost like she's looking down or something like that. So it's kind of like they could be a bit shy, not look you straight in the eye, that sort of thing. They might be a little bit kind of like, because she's also not looking in the eye as well. He's not, she's not. She's not the little baby doll. Yeah, it's like they're not looking. So this person may not like eye contact a whole lot, or they might be kind of shy sometimes to make eye contact. Maybe that's something more intimate for them. I would say though, again, jewelry of some kind, I do feel like that's going to be the case. When they push a shopping cart though, they may lean on it, is one thing I'm thinking as well. But yeah, I would say for some of you, they could have purple or blue hair at some point in their life. I don't think that's going to be for everyone though. But it might be a confirmation for some of you if you already know the person. But that's what I'm getting, guys. If this person's in their 30s, they look like they're in their 20s. That's another one I'm getting. Like, kind of intuitively. Yeah. Like a more youthful like appearance. Like even their 30s, even up to 40. They look younger. Anyway, yeah, okay. I hope that you've enjoyed this reading. Those are the qualities, physical qualities and attributes to your, future soulmate, whoever that may be, depending on what you were asking. But I really hope that you liked it. If you want me to look at your natal chart and look at your 7th house and its ruler and find out more about like a long-term partner, I can totally do such a thing. It's available on my Etsy store, the long-term partnership report, as well as like readings and all kinds of different things. I have a lot of different services on my Etsy store, at least as of this reading, as of the time I'm recording. Of course, things could change, in the future somewhere down the line, but depending on when you see it. But otherwise, I wish you all the very, very best. I hope this reading finds you blessed, and I hope you have a beautiful, beautiful day wherever you are. Please subscribe if you haven't. I'd love to see you back again. Okay, take care. Hello, my friends. If you chose the last group here, group number 6, this is going to be your reading. So let's find out all about the appearance of your future soulmate. And like I said, for the other groups, we do have multiple types of soulmates. And you can go ahead and ask about any kind of soulmate coming through. So if you want to know what your next friend soulmate's going to look like, you can ask that as well in the beginning and kind of concentrate on that outcome and find a pile as well. So don't feel like it has to be delegated only towards romantic soulmates, okay? So you have got Libra and the 6 of Pentacles. I can tell you that there will be a height difference between you and your partner, is what I feel. Okay, because of the 6 of Pentacles, and just like the scales here are a little bit off, so I feel like that there will definitely be a height difference. Let's see. So Libra is ruled by Venus, so much like the previous group is Taurus, and so again, it's the other sign that is ruled as well by Venus. So usually a very polite personality, very giving and generous as well. With the 6 of Pentacles, I can tell you that this person has a very generous and giving personality and very diplomatic, kind, polite, mannered, okay? Every once in a while, though, maybe there can be a little bit of an uppityness. Sometimes on Libra, the scales can get a little bit out of balance, and so one might feel like, oh, I'm much better, okay? So sometimes there can be a little bit of cockiness. Maybe not towards you, but it could be towards the world in general, or to other people. They might be like, well, I'm so much better than them. What the heck? Every once in a while it could come out. Yeah, you know what I mean? And that doesn't mean that they'll always be like that. Sometimes that's just something that has to balance over time. But yeah, usually as well, this can mean that the person does not like to be rushed to make any decision. They want to make it, concisely, clearly as well. So they might be kind of like, not the person who wants to be like, what are you getting? What are you getting? And you ask them and they'll flip out. Okay. Also, one tends to balance themselves on one leg or the other. So again, you might find that someone is sort of like leaning towards one side. Like if you can see this person, it's kind of like they seem to be favoring their left leg, right? More. And she's also same right leg for her. As well, because it's kind of back and she's kind of resting into that back leg. So again, there can be that idea that they're kind of resting into a leg as an example, or balancing on one end or one side. Usually very beautiful, although Libra does tend, out of the two Venus signs, tends to have a more makeup look. Or like if it's a feminine, they might be much more, they do have a natural beauty, but it's often enhanced a lot by like makeup or something like that, or some sort of something on their face as an example. Okay, especially like if they're a woman. Whereas like Taurus Venus would be more like a natural like kind of beauty, maybe like more minimalistic makeup. And that's, I've seen that a lot. I wouldn't say that all, my mom's like a Venus and Libra, and she doesn't have like massive amounts of makeup on, but she chose like usually generally like kind of more subdued looks, but she also has some other qualities in her chart. And I'm not saying that every Libra will be like that, but I do notice that mostly it is like that, and other astrologers agree with me. Usually it's kind of on let's see. Yeah, so prettiness can be there, but sometimes it's not exactly all natural beauty or realistic beauty. It can be like sort of like enhanced in some way, like through makeup, like I said, or something else. Usually symmetrical in appearance as well. So I think your soulmate will have a symmetrical appearance, sort of like everything sort of balances out. Nothing feels like out of place. Like it doesn't feel like the lips are too big for the face or the lips are too thin for the face. You know what I mean? It would be like everything kind of balances out naturally. Usually it gives a more full lip rather than a smaller one, though, as well. So it's not such a thin lip sign as well. Usually the attire and the clothing is quite neat. They dress nicely as well. There is like, you know, dressing, they want to dress nice. Usually very color oriented in their clothing, matching, making sure things match and flow well together as well. So good eye for color. Let's see here. Usually appropriate in terms of clothing. They're not going to want to like be too like out of place or distasteful or like, you know what I mean? They're usually going to be a little bit more conservative in the way that they dress. Maybe not nearly as much as Taurus, but yeah, probably the person will dress, you know, quite nicely. Nothing that kind of goes out of the norm too much. Usually also, by the way, anti-aging, they will avoid anti-aging, taking care of their skin as an example as well. Male or female, you know, they might be kind of conscious of their skin. Sometimes their facial expressions aren't as varied as some others as well. So sometimes it's kind of hard to read their expressions. Like they don't do big smiles or big, you know, big changes in their appearance. Like when they are talking, as an example, it could be kind of like not monotone, but like not super expressive, like, you know, like a fire sign might be, where they'll be like, oh, you know, like big, their eyes will get really huge when they talk, or like, you know what I mean, like when they're excited about something. Libra qualities tend to be a little bit more subdued, like kind of like, what are they thinking? You know what I mean? Kind of calming way of speaking, as an example. The face also can have a bit of a heart shape to it, and the hair can be more wavy with Libra as well. Sorry, I almost said Leo. Yeah. Usually the voice is not very loud. It's sort of smooth. It's quiet. It doesn't like shout too much. It's not like, again, when they're kind of excited, they're not always the most expressive in terms of like the loudest. And I'm not saying that it's emotionless, by the way, not at all. I'm just saying that, like, you know, if you tell like an Aries, oh, you won $1 million, they'd be like, yeah, you know, like they'd like get really excited, you know, like big eyes, you know, like, ah, you know, excited. But Libra would be more like, oh, wow, cool, you know, like more calmer nature. And so I think that your soulmate definitely has these qualities. Decorum, You know, they have a lot of decorum. I mean, Venus rules our social, like our social graces. And so, you know, they have a lot of social grace. Like they don't, and again, I'm not saying it's not socially graceful, by the way, to be loud, you know what I mean, at all, by the way. I'm not like, but yeah, it can be that they're just a little bit more on that side. Again, the eyes can be a bit on the rounder, almond side as well. And sometimes the bottom lip is a bit more full than the upper lip. But the lips tend to be a bit fuller. The bottom as well, the person's butt, basically, their bottom, their ass, it can be a little bit more rounder. Okay, so more rounder in shape as well. Usually the teeth are quite nice. Sometimes there's a little gap between the front teeth as well. Straight teeth, nice teeth. And also thinking about scales and sort of like shapes and stuff like that, generally actually their bodies are quite interestingly proportioned. Like they're a lot more hourglass type shapes, more shapely figure as an example, especially for like a woman, and more graceful movements as well. Dimples as well on the cheeks are very popular as well, and good bone structure. Men can have a more athletic appearance. Yep, more athletic, but usually it's a beautiful body. There can be like a sweet tooth, maybe a little bit of an indulgent personality as well here, just like with Taurus. So there can be like, you know, the results of that. But usually they have a very beautiful, like kind of like figure, you know what I mean? And the body is very beautiful. Like I said, on women, they'll usually tend to have more like of an hourglass shape with a round bottom, kind of like what's popular right now, I think. And then the waistline can be kind of like smaller in comparison. Usually the waistline is going to be smaller in comparison to the hips for a woman, especially. But a man would have a more athletic featured body. You know, I mean, more fit, more balanced that way. Usually the skin is quite nice, quite glowing. Doesn't deal with nearly as many skin problems as maybe like an Aries would, the opposite sign, as well. And graceful, I think I mentioned that. But yeah, I would say that generally a really generous kind of personality. I do feel like that there is a height difference, like I mentioned as well. Let's see what else. What other kind of physical characteristics might we see? Yeah, again, taller than you. We have the umbrella. What do? Put the umbrella over your head. This person may actually literally look down on your head or be a bit, like there's definitely a height. Okay. Oh yeah, airplane too. Wide hips, I think, for a lot of you. Look at the triangle. They might have a triangle shape as well, like kind of where their hips are more wider. Again, we sort of have that pointing upward, so I think height, again, is like kind of prominent for this person. Let me see. What's that noise? I thought I heard something weird, like a birdie. I think they could be on the thinner side actually, but have like some sort of feature that's prominent, like shoulders or hips. That's what I feel in terms of physical presence. Sorry if I'm quiet. I'm just kind of thinking here, getting the messages. Let's see, anything else about the physical appearance? Oh my god, no, I didn't want that. Sorry, that's like way too many cards. I'm not going to take all those. What the heck? So many cards. So much mess. Okay, let's see. Anything else here? Letter. I would say a pleasant way of communicating, well-spoken as well. They might have a pleasant voice. I think an encouraging person as well. When I look at that umbrella card, I think of like that song, Under My Umbrella, and then I see letter and like airplane, travel. It's like you can do anything. They also could always have like, I feel like as well, in terms of personality, I think the person could also be able to see different sides. Like if they're, and that's true of Libras. Usually they're pretty good at like seeing both sides of a situation. Every once in a while, maybe they get more on top, but Generally, though, I would say Libras can give pretty good advice because they'll kind of think of both people, and then they'll give you like even another option. You know what I mean? Not neither of you right. This is right. You know, that sort of thing. Mm. The person, I mean, could be like a pilot or something like that with the airplane, or travel quite a bit, or something like that. Yeah, I think that somehow this person's a good communicator, a good writer as well, well spoken. But yeah, that's what I'm seeing, guys. I'm gonna probably stop here because I don't think I'm getting much more, to be honest, without taking more and more cards. So let's just keep it as it is. But again, a very attractive person, very giving, very generous, taller than you, very symmetrical face, very nice features as well. Could wear like a lot of makeup, like I said, if feminine, if masculine, could be a little bit more athletic, but also maybe kind of like, you know, good in the face. Top lip, like I said, could be a little bit thinner, bottom lip a little bit more fuller, but generally the lips are somewhat full, at least a little bit. Unless, of course, there are other things. If they have a lot of Virgo qualities, then maybe the lip wouldn't be as full. Because Virgo can give like a thinner lip usually. But it depends on like other aspects, of course, in the chart. If you want your own reading where I look at your chart, if you have your birth time, because I'm looking at the 7th house, that can really help identify it for you. So if you want such a report, they're available in my Etsy store. And I have many different types of astrology reports. I have many types of tarot readings. Of course, you know, 1 questions, 2 questions, 3 questions, 4 questions, emergency readings. I've got it all. 6-month predictions. We have a lot of different things to choose from. But yeah, if you want those, you know, you can go up there on my Etsy. But I wish you the very, very best. Please subscribe, like, comment. Let me know what you thought. But otherwise, take care, guys, and have a beautiful, beautiful day wherever you are.